Hey guys, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Here's how this works. First of all, if you're new, subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the blog, subscribe there. Follow me on every social network. A big one now in 2015 has been Instagram, believe it or not, for clinical researchers. So if you use the hashtag clinical trials or clinical research, you can find tons of people, probably some of your colleagues, who are in the industry. You can also find me, of course, and you can find hashtag clinical trials guru. You can find all my stuff too. So for those of you who don't know how this works, you email me a question, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I keep you anonymous, and if it's an interesting question that I think other people may benefit from, or sometimes not, just if it's interesting, I'll make a video response. So today's question comes by text. And yes, you can text message me too, or call me. It's 949-415-6256, 949-415-6256. So this one says, hey Dan, do you know where I can find a template of a master services agreement for an SMO? So sounds like you are an SMO and you want to partner with different doctors. I actually had a little more back and forth dialogue, so I know a little more of the context. I think, from what I can remember, this person wants to build an SMO and they're partnering with different doctors across the country. So what you're actually looking for, don't try to complicate things too much. What you're actually looking for is just a regular contract between your company, the SMO, and the principal investigator, or the doctor that you plan on using for your investigators for your various studies. So somewhere in there, you want to talk about the structure. Do you have, I'm assuming you're using their offices to do the study, so you got to make that explicitly stated in the contract. You also want to talk about how much you agree that they will be getting paid. How much will they be getting compensated? Indemnification. Usually sponsors will indemnify PIs as long as they follow protocol. You want to make sure that's in there. You also want to make sure the investigator has his or her own medical malpractice, because in addition to the indemnification, every single contract requires some kind of medical malpractice for the investigators. So you want to agree first on who's going to pay for that and then have that in there. So sometimes the SMO will pay for that, so you want to make sure that that's stated there. Sometimes the SMO will have each investigator maintain their own malpractice, so that's got to be stated in there. Then you got to talk about confidentiality. So you'll be giving these investigators studies to work on. You don't want them sharing these studies with other groups necessarily. If you don't care, don't put that in there, but you don't want them sharing these studies with their colleagues. So you can put that in there and say, hey, everything that we disclose is confidential and should be kept confidential. The compensation's there. And then as far as study records, who's going to store the study records? Usually the SMO will store the study records, but maybe you negotiate with the investigator that they keep the study records at their site. And then who's paying for the staff? Is the investigator going to be paying their own coordinators, or is the SMO paying the coordinators? Who's doing the regulatory? Who's in charge of recruiting? So these are things that you want to make sure are in the master service agreement, but don't call it a master service agreement. Just call it a regular contract between your company and a principal investigator. I can help you with this. I do consulting. I have some contracts available. Email me, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and I can help you out with that. This is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and take care.